Marcus Cole's lips were on fire. The metallic taste of arsenic burned his tongue as he staggered backward, releasing Catherine Brennan from the desperate kiss that just saved her life. 200 guests stared in shocked silence. Catherine's hand flew up. Crack! The slap echoed through the ballroom like a gunshot. "You poisoned me," she whispered, eyes blazing with betrayal. Marcus's vision blurred, his throat closed. He had maybe 3 minutes before his organs shut down. "No," he choked out, grabbing her wrist. "I saved you." Then he collapsed. What this former Marine doesn't know: the man who tried to kill Catherine tonight is the same man who murdered his wife 3 years ago. Comment your city below so I can see how far this story travels. The poison was working fast. Marcus Cole hit the marble floor hard, his 200-pound frame crumpling like a dropped marionette. Pain exploded through his shoulder blades. The crystal chandeliers above spun in nauseating circles. "Someone call 911. A woman's voice, shrill and panicked. "Give him space." A man authoritative. But Catherine Brennan dropped to her knees beside him, her white Valentino gown pooling around her like spilled milk. Her hands hovered over his chest, shaking, unsure. "What did you do?" she demanded. "Marcus, what did you do?" He tried to speak. His tongue felt thick, foreign. The words came out slurred, wet. "Waiter, gray suit, scar on left hand." "What?" "Find him." Marcus grabbed her wrist, his grip weakening by the second. "Kate, listen. Your champagne. It was meant for you." Understanding crashed across her face. Her eyes went wide, pupils dilating. She looked down at his mouth, blistered swelling turning an angry red. Oh God, Marcus, no." "Get security," he managed. "Lock down exits, now." Catherine's hand shot up, snapping at someone Marcus couldn't see. You in the black suit. Lock every exit. Nobody leaves this building. Nobody. And get hotel security to find a waiter in a gray suit with a scar on his left hand. Move." She was good in a crisis. Marcus had known that from the first week he'd driven her. Cool under pressure. Made decisions while others panicked. It's why she'd survived 6 months as CEO of Brennan Industries after her father's sudden death. It's why someone wanted her dead. A man in a tuxedo pushed through the crowd, dropping beside Catherine. Salt and pepper hair, expensive cologne, concern painted thick across his features. "Kate, what's happening? Is he having a seizure?" "Robert, not now." "I'm a friend. I can help." "I said not now." Catherine's voice cut like a blade. "Security is handling it." The man Robert backed away, hands raised in surrender, but his eyes lingered on Marcus, calculating, assessing. Marcus's vision tunneled. Sounds became muffled, distant. He heard Catherine's voice as if from underwater. "Stay with me. Marcus, stay with me. Help is coming." He wanted to tell her about the other details he'd noticed. The way the waiter had moved, not like a server, like an operator. Military bearing. Weight forward on the balls of his feet. The bulge under his jacket that wasn't a wine bottle. The cold assessment in his eyes as he'd tracked Catherine across the room. Marcus had clocked him within 30 seconds of entering the ballroom. 4 tours in Iraq and 8 years in the Secret Service taught you to see threats in crowds. The micro-expressions. The body language that didn't match the uniform. The predator moving through prey. He'd watched the waiter position himself near the champagne tower. Watched him wait. Watched him select one specific glass, separate it from the others with a subtle shift of the tray. When Catherine had reached for it, smiling at some tech billionaire, Marcus had 3 seconds to decide. Knock it away. Too far. She'd drink it before he could reach her, shout a warning. In a room this loud, she wouldn't hear him until too late, so he'd done the only thing that made sense in that split-second calculation. He'd kissed her. Hard. Desperate. Stealing the champagne from her mouth into his. The taste had confirmed everything. Bitter. Metallic. Chemical burn that lit up every nerve ending in his mouth. Arsenic compound probably. Mixed with something faster acting. GHB maybe to make her dizzy before the real poison kicked in. A drink like that would have killed her in 6 minutes. 8 if she was lucky. Sir, can you hear me? A new voice. Authoritative. Medical. Marcus forced his eyes open. A paramedic young efficient was already checking his pulse. An oxygen mask descended over his face. Cool air flooded his lungs. Possible poisoning, Catherine was saying. He kissed me, and then he said my drink was poisoned. The paramedic's eyes sharpened. Ma'am, did you drink anything? No, he stopped me. Sir, what did you ingest? Marcus pushed the words past the oxygen mask. Champagne, 2 ounces, arsenic base, maybe GHB. The paramedic's hands moved faster. We need activated charcoal, now, and get me atropine. I'm coming with him, Catherine said. Ma'am, I'm coming with him. Her voice left no room for argument. This man just saved my life. I'm not leaving him. The paramedic nodded curtly. Let's move. They lifted Marcus onto a gurney. The ballroom ceiling spun past ornate, expensive, meaningless. He caught a glimpse of faces in the crowd. Shocked, curious, afraid. And there, near the back, half hidden behind a marble column, the waiter. Gray suit. Watching. His expression calm, professional. Their eyes met for a fraction of a second. The man smiled, then he turned and disappeared into the crowd. Marcus tried to lift his arm to point, but his body wouldn't respond. The paramedics wheeled him toward the exit, Catherine running alongside the gurney, her hand gripping the rail. The waiter, Marcus gasped. Still here. Security's looking, Catherine assured him. They'll find him. They wouldn't. Marcus knew they wouldn't. Men like that, professionals, they had exit strategies planned before they took the job. By now, he was already gone. Different jacket, different hair, different face. Melted into the city like smoke. The ambulance bay was controlled chaos. Flashing lights. Urgent voices. They loaded Marcus into the back. Catherine climbed in after him, ignoring the paramedics' protests about regulations. I own this hospital, she said flatly. He gets the best care. Whatever he needs. As the ambulance pulled away, sirens wailing, Catherine leaned close. Her hand found his squeezed tight. Why? She whispered. Marcus, why would you do that? You could die. He looked at her through the oxygen mask. This woman he'd driven for 2 months. This woman whose father had called him 3 weeks before his death, voice tight with fear, saying, I need someone I can trust. Someone outside the family. Someone who knows how to protect people. This woman who said good morning every day like she meant it. Who asked about his daughter's science projects. Who'd cried in the back seat after board meetings and thought he couldn't see. Job description, Marcus managed. Catherine's laugh was half sob. Your job description is driving, not dying for me. Former Marine, he said. Dying for people was in my first job description. She squeezed his hand harder. Tears streaked her mascara. You're not dying. You hear me, Marcus Cole? You're not dying. The hospital erupted around them in controlled emergency. Nurses, doctors, equipment wheeled at high speed. They transferred Marcus to a gurney, started an IV, began the decontamination protocol. A doctor with tired eyes and steady hands appeared beside him. Mr. Cole, I'm Dr. James Chen. I understand you've ingested arsenic. Compound, Marcus confirmed. Mixed with something. GHB maybe. Dr. Chen's eyebrows rose. You're very calm for a man who's been poisoned. Not my first time. That got a sharp look. Military. Marines, then Secret Service. You get exposed to a lot of things in those jobs. Presidential detail. Dr. Chen's hands never stopped moving, checking Marcus's vitals, adjusting the IV flow. 3 presidents. Took a bullet for the last one. Flesh wound. Barely counted. Jesus! Dr. Chen glanced at Catherine. Ma'am, you have good people working for you. He's my driver, Catherine said softly. The hell he is. Dr. Chen inserted another IV line with practiced precision. Mr. Cole, you're looking at activated charcoal atropine, possibly chelation therapy depending on your blood work. You're going to feel like death for the next few hours, but you'll live. My daughter. We'll call her, Catherine interrupted. Marcus, give me your phone password. I'll call whoever takes care of her. She won't be alone, I promise. Marcus recited the numbers. Catherine pulled his phone from his jacket pocket, the cheap Android he used for work, and stepped away dialing. Dr. Chen continued his assessment, muttering to nurses about blood work and toxicology. But his eyes kept returning to Marcus's face. Can I ask you something? The doctor said quietly. Yeah. How'd you know the drink was poisoned before you tasted it? Marcus closed his eyes. Exhaustion was crashing over him in waves. The adrenaline that had kept him conscious was burning off. The waiter. Wrong body language. Military training. I've seen it enough times. So you just kissed her? That was your first instinct. Only instinct. No time for anything else. Dr. Chen shook his head slowly. That's either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever heard. Both, probably. Former Secret Service, huh? I was Army. Medic. 3 tours in Afghanistan. Helmand Province. Kandahar. They shared a look. The kind of recognition that passes between men who've seen things civilians can't understand. Who've made split-second choices between bad and worse. Who've carried bodies of friends. Who've learned that courage and stupidity often look identical in the moment. Thank you for your service, Dr. Chen said. You too. Catherine returned, her face pale but composed. Your daughter is with your neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. She's scared but okay. I told her you had an accident at work, but you're going to be fine. Thank you. Marcus. Catherine sat in the chair beside his bed. The hospital gown they'd changed her into was pale blue, paper thin. She looked young suddenly. Vulnerable. Nothing like the CEO who commanded boardrooms. Tell me the truth. Was it really poison? Yes. Someone tried to kill me tonight. Yes. Why? Marcus looked at her. Really looked. Catherine Brennan, 29 years old, MBA from Harvard, took over Brennan Industries when her father dropped dead at his desk 6 months ago. Heart attack, the death certificate said. No autopsy, no questions asked. But her father had called Marcus 3 weeks before he died. Called him at 2 a.m., voice shaking. Marcus, I need to hire you. Not through the company. Private contract. I need someone I can trust. Sir, I'm just a driver. Don't bullshit me. I know who you are. Raymond Washington told me. Secret Service. Presidential detail. You left after your wife died, but you didn't stop being a protector. What do you need protected? My daughter. Someone's going to kill me. Soon. And after I'm gone, they'll come for Kate. I've discovered something. Someone in my company is stealing millions. And they know I know. I can feel it. Go to the FBI. No time, no proof, just patterns. Numbers that don't add up. Meetings I'm excluded from. I need you close to Kate. When I'm gone, keep her safe. Can you do that? Marcus had said yes. Had taken the job through proper channels so no one would suspect. Had been driving Catherine Brennan for 8 weeks when her father clutched his chest and died at his desk on a Tuesday afternoon. Heart attack. Natural causes. Nothing suspicious. Except everything was suspicious to a man trained to see patterns. Marcus, Catherine prompted. Why would someone want me dead? He met her eyes. Same reason they killed your father. The words hung in the air like a confession. Catherine went very still. My father had a heart attack. No. The autopsy. There was no autopsy. The company doctor signed the death certificate. No investigation. No questions. That's protocol for a heart attack. Catherine. Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. Your father called me 3 weeks before he died. He said someone was going to kill him. He asked me to protect you when he was gone. She stared at him, color draining from her face. That's not possible. He knew. He'd discovered embezzlement. Millions of dollars moved through shell companies. He was gathering evidence. And someone found out. Who? He didn't say. He died before he could tell me. Catherine stood abruptly, paced to the window. Her hands shook as she gripped the sill. You're telling me my father was murdered? Yes. And tonight someone tried to murder me? Yes. And you've known this for 2 months and said nothing. Her voice cracked on the last word. Not anger, grief. The kind that's been buried under work and responsibility and the need to be strong. Marcus understood. He'd carried that same grief for 3 years. Ever since his wife's car went off the road on a clear night with perfect visibility and no mechanical failures. I had no proof, he said quietly. Just a phone call from a dead man. What was I supposed to say? Hello, Ms. Brennan. I think your father was murdered, but I have 0 evidence. Yes, you should have said exactly that. Would you have believed me? She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. No, she admitted. I would have fired you and had security escort you out. That's why I stayed quiet. I needed to be close, to watch, to wait for them to make a move. And they did. Tonight. Yes. Catherine turned back to him. Tears streaked her face, but her voice was steady. Who's they? I don't know yet, but I will. How? The waiter's a professional. Someone hired him. Someone with money and connections. Someone inside your company who has access to your schedule, your security, your private events. That's half my executive team. Then we narrow it down. Catherine moved closer. Marcus, you almost died tonight. You're not a bodyguard. You're not a detective. You're former Marine, former Secret Service, and current very pissed off driver who doesn't like it when people try to kill women I'm supposed to protect. You're my driver. No. Marcus met her eyes. I was never your driver. Your father hired me to keep you alive. That's what I'm going to do. Dr. Chen knocked on the doorframe. Blood works back. Definitely arsenic. Also GHB, as you suspected, Mr. Cole. You ingested approximately 30 milligrams of arsenic trioxide mixed with 2 grams of GHB. That's more than enough to kill an average person. I'm not average, Marcus said. Clearly. Your military medical records show previous exposure to nerve agents during a training incident. Your body metabolizes toxins faster than normal. That's probably what saved you. How long until I can leave? Dr. Chen frowned. At least 24 hours observation. How long until I can leave? Not should. Can. The doctor sighed. 6 hours, but you'll feel like hell. Nausea, weakness, tremors. You'll need to stay hydrated and avoid physical exertion. I'll take it. Mr. Cole. 6 hours, Doc. Clock's ticking. Dr. Chen looked at Catherine helplessly. Your driver's insane. He's not my driver, Catherine said quietly. Apparently he's my guardian angel who ingests poison. After Dr. Chen left, shaking his head, Catherine pulled a chair close to Marcus's bed. The hospital room was quiet except for the beep of monitors and the hum of fluorescent lights. Tell me everything, she said. Everything my father said. Everything you've suspected. All of it. So Marcus did. He told her about the 2 a.m. phone call, about her father's fear, about patterns of embezzlement hidden in offshore accounts, about meetings her father was excluded from in his own company, about the waiter tonight, the professional bearing the calculated positioning, the weapon bulge under his jacket. Catherine listened without interrupting. Her face grew paler with each detail. Robert Hendricks, she said finally. Who? Robert, my CFO. He was at the gala tonight. Tried to help when you collapsed. my father's college roommate, his best friend for 40 years. Marcus thought about the man in the tuxedo, salt and pepper hair, expensive cologne, eyes that had lingered too long on Marcus's face. What about him? 3 days before my father died, they had a screaming match in his office. I heard it from the hallway. My father was saying something about offshore accounts and betrayal, and I trusted you. Robert walked out looking furious. You never mentioned this. I thought it was about business strategy. They argued sometimes. Strong personalities. Catherine's voice wavered. But what if it wasn't about strategy? What if my father had discovered Robert was stealing from the company? Then Robert would have a very good reason to make him die of a heart attack. And to kill me before I discovered the same thing. They sat in silence, the implications settling between them like fog. Finally, Catherine spoke. We need proof. Yes. We need to find whatever evidence my father was gathering. Yes. And we need to do it before Robert realizes tonight's attempt failed and tries again. Yes. Catherine stood. Then let's go. Kate, I'm connected to an IV. Dr. Chen said 6 hours. It's been 1. We have 5 more. You should stay here. Let me handle... Marcus. She looked down at him. Someone murdered my father. Someone tried to murder me. I'm not hiding in a hospital room while you investigate. I'm coming with you. He saw it then. The steel underneath the CEO polish. The reason her father had built an empire. The reason she'd survived 6 months of shark circling. Catherine Brennan wasn't weak. She was a fighter. She just didn't know it yet. All right, Marcus said. But we do this smart. We need help. Who? Marcus picked up his phone, scrolled to a contact he hadn't called in 6 months. Pressed dial. The phone rang 3 times. Then a voice gravelly with sleep and suspicion. Cole, it's 2 a.m. Someone better be dying. Hey, Ray, Marcus said. Remember that favor you owe me? I'm calling it in. Raymond Washington arrived 40 minutes later with a duffel bag and a scowl that could strip paint. You look like death, he said, dropping the bag on Marcus's hospital bed. Nice to see you too, Ray. Don't nice to see you me. I'm off duty, Cole. First decent sleep I've had in 2 weeks, and you call talking about poison and assassination attempts. Ray's eyes shifted to Catherine. His expression softened marginally. Ms. Brennan, I'm sorry about your father. You knew my father. Met him once. He called me 6 months ago asking about Marcus. Wanted to know if Cole was the real deal or just another washed-up federal agent looking for easy money. What did you tell him? I told him Marcus Cole was the best damned agent I ever worked with. Saved my life in Kabul. Took 2 bullets meant for President Gardner. Only left the service because his wife died and he had a daughter to raise. Ray pulled a chair close, his bulk making it look like children's furniture. I also told him that if Marcus was working security, whoever was in danger, better pray Marcus was on their side. Catherine looked at Marcus. You took bullets for the president. Flesh wounds, Marcus muttered. One punctured your lung. Still a flesh wound, Ray snorted. Stubborn bastard refused morphine until the president was secure. Gave his sit rep from the gurney while bleeding out. He unzipped the duffel bag. Now, someone want to tell me what the hell is going on? Marcus filled him in, every detail. The phone call from Catherine's father. The heart attack that wasn't. The waiter tonight. The poison. Ray listened without interrupting, his face growing darker with each revelation. You should have called me 2 months ago, he said when Marcus finished. Had no proof, just suspicions. Suspicions are enough when people start dying. Ray pulled items from the bag. A laptop, a secure phone, a handgun in a shoulder holster. FBI's going to want to talk to you both. Hotel security found the waiter's jacket in a dumpster. No ID, no fingerprints. Glass shards with trace amounts of arsenic trioxide. They won't find him, Marcus said. No, they won't. Man like that's already 3 states away. Ray opened the laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. But he left a trail. They always do. Someone hired him. Someone paid him. Money moves coal. It always moves. Can you track it? Not officially, but I know people who know people. Ray glanced at Catherine. Ms. Brennan, I need access to your company's financial records. Everything. Bank statements, wire transfers, expense reports. 5 years back minimum. Catherine hesitated. That's confidential. Someone tried to kill you tonight. I understand, but there are legal protocols. Kate. Marcus's voice was quiet. Your father died because he found something in those records. If we don't find it first, you're next. She met his eyes, held his gaze, finally nodded. I'll give you access, but it stays between us. If word gets out that I'm investigating my own company, the board will have my head. The board might already be planning to take your head, Ray said bluntly. Literally. Catherine flinched, but she pulled out her phone, typed rapidly, then showed Ray the screen. That's my personal access code. You can view everything from there. But Ray, if you're wrong, if this is just paranoia. It's not paranoia when they're really trying to kill you, Ray said. Dr. Chen appeared in the doorway, scowling. Mr. Cole, you have visitors multiplying like rabbits. This is a hospital, not a command center. How's his blood work? Ray asked. Improving. Arsenic levels dropping. He's metabolizing faster than expected. He always does. When can he leave? I already told him 6 hours observation minimum. Doc, respectfully, that's not going to work. Ray's voice carried the weight of federal authority. We have a credible threat against Ms. Brennan. Mr. Cole is her security. He needs to be mobile. Dr. Chen looked between them. Your Secret Service. Was, Marcus said. Ray still is. Currently assigned to the New York field office, Ray added. This situation is now under federal investigation. It wasn't technically, not yet, but Dr. Chen didn't need to know that. The doctor sighed. Fine, but you sign an AMA form, against medical advice, and you... He pointed at Marcus. Take it easy. No running, no fighting, no heroics. Your body's been through hell. Noted, Marcus said, already pulling the IV from his arm. 20 minutes later, they were in Ray's SUV driving through Manhattan at 3 a.m. Marcus sat in the passenger seat fighting waves of nausea. Catherine was in the back, staring out the window at the empty streets. Where are we going? She asked. Safe house, Ray said. Bureau maintains a few for witness protection. This one's off the books. Off the books meaning what? Meaning if someone's got eyes in the FBI, which they might if they're this connected, this place won't show up in any database. You think they have FBI sources? Kate, they poisoned you at a charity gala with 200 witnesses and nearly got away with it. They killed your father and made it look natural. Yeah, I think they've got sources. The safe house was a brownstone in Brooklyn. Narrow, unremarkable, sandwiched between a bodega and a laundromat. Ray parked in the back alley, led them through a steel door that looked rusted but opened smoothly with a key code. Inside was cleaner than Marcus expected. Spartan, but functional. Living room with reinforced windows. Kitchen stocked with non-perishables. 2 bedrooms. And in the basement, a full surveillance setup that would make the NSA jealous. Home sweet home, Ray muttered, dropping his bag on the kitchen counter. Kate, you take the master bedroom. Cole, you're on the couch. I'll be downstairs running searches. I can help, Catherine said. You need sleep. I need answers. Ray studied her for a long moment, then nodded. All right. But fair warning, what we're about to look at might hurt. Your father's financial records, his communications, his last few months of life. You sure you want to see it? I have to. They descended to the basement. Ray booted up 3 monitors connected to servers Marcus knew were definitely not FBI approved. Catherine sat in the chair beside him, hands folded in her lap, back rigid with tension. "Starting with the basics," Ray said, pulling up Brennan Industries' main banking records. "Your company moves about $2 billion annually through various accounts. Most of it's clean. Payroll operations acquisitions, but your father was right. There's money missing." "How much?" $53 million over 7 years. Small amounts. Few $100,000 here, $500,000 there. Spread across dozens of accounts. Someone was very careful." Catherine leaned closer. "Show me." Ray pulled up a spreadsheet, highlighted transactions in red. "See these wire transfers? They're marked as consultant fees, legal services, office renovations, all legitimate expenses on the surface. But look at the vendor names." Marcus read over Catherine's shoulder. Apex Solutions, Meridian Consulting, Cornerstone Legal. They all sound generic. Because they are. Shell companies. I ran them through every database I have access to. They don't exist. No employees, no physical addresses, just post office boxes in Delaware and the Caymans. "Someone created fake companies to funnel money out," Catherine said slowly. "Someone smart. Someone with access to accounting. Someone who could authorize payments without raising flags." "Robert," Catherine whispered, "your CFO's the obvious suspect, but I need more than patterns. I need paper trails, communications, something definitive." Ray pulled up another window. "Your father's email account. You authorized me to access it." Catherine nodded. Ray typed rapidly. Emails flooded the screen. Hundreds of them. Thousands. 7 years of corporate correspondence. "I'm searching for keywords. Offshore. Shell company. Embezzlement. Theft. Fraud." Ray hit enter. The screen flickered. 63 matches. He opened the first email, dated 3 months before Catherine's father died. From Richard Brennan to Robert Hendricks. Subject: quarterly review. "Bob, we need to talk about the Apex Solutions payments. I'm seeing charges that don't match any work product. Call me." Ray opened the next email. 2 weeks later, from Richard Brennan to James Kirkland. Subject: confidential audit. "James, I need you to conduct a full forensic audit of our offshore accounts. Completely off the books. Report only to me. Time sensitive. I'll explain when we meet." Catherine's hands were shaking. "Who's James Kirkland?" "Forensic accountant out of Boston," Ray said, already typing. "Specializes in corporate fraud. Has a reputation for being thorough and discreet." He pulled up a phone number. "I'll call him in the morning." "Why morning?" "Because it's 3 a.m. and even accountants sleep." Ray opened more emails. The pattern was clear. Catherine's father had suspected Robert, had gathered evidence, had hired an outside auditor to prove it. Then he'd died. "There," Marcus said, pointing at the screen. "Open that one." The email was dated 1 week before Richard Brennan's death. From James Kirkland. Subject line: audit results. Ray opened it. The email was brief. "Richard findings are worse than expected. Total embezzlement approximately $53 million over 7 years. All trails lead to one source. Documentation attached. Recommend immediate law enforcement involvement. We should meet in person to discuss next steps. Let me know when you're available." Catherine made a sound. Half gasp, half sob. "Did my father open this email?" she asked. Ray checked the metadata. Yes, 3 days before he died. He read it at 11:47 p.m. from his home computer. Did he respond? No response. No follow-up meeting scheduled with Kirkland. Nothing. "Because he died 3 days later," Marcus said quietly. They sat in silence. The evidence was damning but circumstantial. Richard Brennan had discovered embezzlement, had gathered proof, had been about to expose someone. Then his heart had stopped. "Where's the documentation?" Catherine asked. Kirkland said it was attached. Ray checked. "No attachment. File's been deleted." "Can you recover it?" "From your father's computer. Maybe, if I had access to it." It's in storage. His home office equipment. I couldn't bring myself to go through it after he died, so I had everything boxed and moved to a facility in Queens. We need that computer, Ray said. I'll get it. First thing in the morning. No. Marcus stood fighting a wave of dizziness. We get it now. Cole, you can barely stand. I'll stand fine. Kate, someone tried to kill you 6 hours ago. If Robert knows the attempt failed, he's already planning the next move. We don't have time to wait. Catherine stood too. Marcus is right. If my father had proof on that computer, we need it before Robert realizes we're looking. Ray muttered something unflattering about stubborn civilians. But he grabbed his keys. The storage facility was on the Queens waterfront. 24-hour access. Catherine used her key code to enter the building. Their footsteps echoed through empty corridors lined with identical metal doors. Unit 237, Catherine said, stopping in front of a door near the back. She unlocked it, pulled it open. Inside were boxes. Dozens of them, labeled in Catherine's neat handwriting. Office supplies, books, files. And, in the back corner, covered with a drop-cloth computer equipment. Marcus pulled the cloth away. Desktop tower, 2 monitors, keyboard, all disconnected and wrapped in protective plastic. We take everything, Ray said, already lifting the tower. Cole, you grab nothing. You look like you're about to pass out. I'm fine. You're gray. Kate helped me load this stuff. Between the two of them, they carried everything to Ray's SUV. Marcus stood watch, scanning the parking lot for threats. His body felt like it was moving through water. Every movement required conscious effort, but his training kept him alert, kept him watching. Nothing moved in the shadows. No cars followed them as they drove back to the brownstone. In the basement, Ray set up the computer equipment with practiced efficiency. Powered on the tower. The machine hummed to life. Windows login screen appeared. Password? Ray asked. Catherine stared at the screen. I don't know. My father never told me. Okay. I can crack it, but it'll take time. Try his birthday, Marcus suggested. Ray typed. Incorrect password. Catherine's birthday. Incorrect. His wife's birthday. His anniversary. His favorite. Wait. Catherine leaned forward. Try Zoe Marie 2018. Ray typed. The screen unlocked. Zoe Marie, Ray asked. My mother's name, Catherine said softly. She died in 2018. Ovarian cancer. They were in. Ray navigated to the email program. Found the message from James Kirkland. Clicked on the attachment icon. Files here, Ray said. Deleted from the email server but still on the local drive. He opened it. A PDF appeared. 73 pages. Detailed forensic analysis of Brennan Industries' financial records. Charts, graphs, transaction histories. And on page 68, a conclusion section that made Marcus's chest tighten. All embezzlement activities traced to accounts controlled by Robert James Hendricks, Chief Financial Officer. Evidence suggests deliberate systematic theft over 7-year period. Recommend immediate termination and criminal prosecution. Catherine read it twice. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady. This is enough. We can take this to the FBI, to the DA. Robert goes to prison. It's enough to start an investigation, Ray agreed. But it's not enough to convict. Defense attorney would argue the audit was biased, that your father had grudges, that evidence could be fabricated. It's not fabricated. I know. But we need more. We need Robert to confess. He'll never confess. He will if he thinks he has no choice. Ray looked at Marcus. We need to make him think Kate found this evidence, that she's about to go public. He'll panic, make a move. A move meaning another assassination attempt, Marcus said flatly. Possibly. No. Marcus's voice was hard. We're not using Kate as bait. I'm sitting right here, Catherine said. And I get a vote. Your vote is no. Actually, my vote is yes. She met Marcus's eyes. This man killed my father. He tried to kill me. How many people has he hurt? How much has he stolen? If we don't stop him now, he'll disappear. He'll take the money and run, and we'll never see justice. Kate. I'm doing this, Marcus, with or without you. They stared at each other. Marcus saw the determination in her face, the steel underneath the CEO polish. She wasn't backing down. Fine, he said finally. But we do it smart. Controlled environment. Full surveillance. Ray's team as backup. I don't have a team, Ray pointed out. This is off the books, remember? Then we make a team. You've got contacts. Use them. Ray rubbed his face. This is insane. You have a better plan. Yeah. Turn everything over to the FBI. Let them handle it. How long would that take? Weeks, maybe months. They'd need to verify the audit, interview witnesses, build a case. And in that time, Robert runs, disappears into a country with no extradition treaty, takes his $53 million and lives like a king while Kate's father stays unavenged. Ray was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. All right. We do this your way. But Cole, if this goes sideways, it won't. If it does, we're both losing our pensions. I don't have a pension. Lucky you. They spent the next 3 hours planning. Ray made calls to contacts who owed him favors. Marcus sketched out scenarios. Catherine studied the audit report, memorizing details, preparing herself for the confrontation ahead. By 7 a.m., they had a plan. Catherine would call Robert. Tell him she'd found her father's audit. Request a meeting at her apartment to discuss what to do. Private conversation. Just the two of them. Except it wouldn't be just the two of them. Marcus would be there, hidden, armed, and Ray would have surveillance equipment recording everything. If Robert's smart, he'll bring his lawyer, Ray said. He won't, Catherine replied. He'll think he can talk his way out of it, or intimidate me, or offer me money to stay quiet. Men like Robert don't believe women can outsmart them. Let's hope you're right. At 9 a.m., Catherine made the call, put it on speaker so Marcus and Ray could hear. 3 rings. Then Robert's voice, smooth and concerned. Kate, how are you feeling? I heard about the incident at the gala. Terrible business. I need to talk to you, Robert, about my father. A pause. Of course. What about? Not over the phone. Can you come to my apartment this morning if possible? Kate, I have meetings. Cancel them. This is urgent. Another pause, longer this time. Marcus could almost hear Robert's mind working, calculating. All right, I can be there by 11. But Kate, what's this about? I found something. Something my father was working on before he died. I think you'll want to see it. Silence on the other end. Marcus watched Catherine's face. She was good, calm, giving nothing away. I'll be there, Robert said finally. His voice had changed, cooler, more controlled. Catherine ended the call. He knows, Ray said. He suspects, Marcus corrected. But he doesn't know what we have. That's our advantage. They moved quickly. Ray set up pinhole cameras in Catherine's apartment, audio equipment, backup recording devices. Marcus checked his weapon. A Glock 19, familiar weight in his hand. Catherine changed into business casual, slacks and a blouse, professional armor. You remember the plan? Marcus asked. I remember. You get him talking, keep him calm, don't accuse, just present the evidence and see how he reacts. And if he reacts badly? That's why I'm here. Marcus positioned himself in Catherine's bedroom. Door cracked open. Clear sightline to the living room. Gun in hand. Ray was in the surveillance van outside. Watching, listening. Ready to move if things went wrong. At 10:58 the doorbell rang. Catherine opened it. Robert stood in the hallway. Salt and pepper hair perfectly styled. Cashmere coat. Practiced smile. Kate, you look tired. Are you sure you're all right? I'm fine. Come in. Robert entered, looked around the apartment. His gaze lingered on the bedroom door, on the kitchen, assessing. Coffee, Catherine offered. No, thank you. You said this was urgent. Catherine sat on the couch, gestured for Robert to sit across from her. He did, but perched on the edge, ready to move. I found my father's computer, Catherine said. In storage. I went through his files last night. Robert's expression didn't change. And I found an audit. From James Kirkland. Do you know that name? Should I? Forensic accountant. My father hired him 3 months before he died. To investigate embezzlement. Now Robert's face shifted, smile fading, eyes hardening. That's ridiculous. Why would Richard think $53 million, Robert? Over 7 years, moved through shell companies, fake vendor payments, all traced back to accounts you controlled. Robert stood abruptly. Kate, I don't know what you think you found, but I'm not accusing you. Not yet. Catherine's voice was steady. I'm giving you a chance to explain, to tell me your side, because I can't believe my father's best friend would betray him like this. Robert stared at her. Marcus could see his mind working, weighing options. Finally, Robert sat back down. Your father didn't understand modern business, Kate. He was old school, conservative. He didn't see the opportunities I saw. Opportunities to steal. Opportunities to grow, to expand. I took calculated risks with company money. Investments in ventures your father would never approve. And they paid off. That money was always coming back. The audit says differently. The audit was commissioned by a paranoid old man who didn't trust his own CFO. He didn't trust you because you were stealing from him. Robert's face darkened. Be very careful what you accuse me of, Kate. I've been with this company for 15 years. I've made us billions. Your father knew that. He needed me. Did you kill him? The words hung in the air. Robert went very still. What did you just say? My father died 3 days after reading that audit. 3 days after learning you'd stolen $53 million. His death was ruled natural causes. But was it? You're out of your mind. Am I because last night someone tried to poison me at the gala? Professional hitman. And now I'm wondering if the same person who wanted me dead is the same person who wanted my father dead. Robert stood again. This time his movements were sharper, agitated. I'm not listening to this insanity. Sit down, Robert. I'm leaving. Sit down. The command in Catherine's voice surprised them both. Robert hesitated, then slowly lowered himself back into the chair. Here's what's going to happen, Catherine said. You're going to tell me the truth, all of it, and then we're going to decide together how to handle this. Handle what, Kate? You're making wild accusations based on evidence, documented evidence, paper trails, communications, your name on every fake company, your signature on every fraudulent payment. That could be fabricated. By who? My father, the man who trusted you, who considered you his closest friend. Robert's jaw clenched. Richard was going to destroy everything. Bring in the FBI, ruin the company's reputation, tank the stock price, all because he couldn't understand that sometimes you have to bend rules to succeed. So you killed him. I didn't say that. You just did. Robert's face went pale. I didn't mean that came out wrong. Did it? Catherine leaned forward. Because it sounded like a confession. Kate, listen to me. Robert's voice shifted, softer now, almost pleading. Your father was my best friend. I loved him like a brother. But he was going to destroy both of us. The company would have collapsed. Shareholders would have sued. We'd both end up in prison. So you made sure only one of you ended up dead. It wasn't supposed to happen that way. Robert stood abruptly pacing. His carefully constructed composure was cracking. I tried to reason with him, told him we could fix this quietly. Return the money, restructure the accounts. But he wouldn't listen. He was going to the FBI. He said I'd left him no choice. Marcus's finger tightened on the trigger. Every instinct screamed to move, to end this. But Catherine needed the full confession, needed Robert to say the words. "How did you do it?" Catherine asked quietly. Robert stopped pacing, looked at her. "Do what?" "Kill him. My father was healthy, active. How does a healthy man just drop dead at his desk?" "Kate, tell me, Robert. I deserve to know how my father spent his last moments. Was he in pain? Did he know what was happening?" Robert's hands were shaking now. He shoved them in his pockets. Potassium chloride, injected directly into his coffee that morning. It mimics a heart attack. Stops the heart instantly. He didn't suffer. I made sure of that. Catherine's face went white, but her voice stayed steady. "You poisoned his coffee." "I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Not when $50 million and 15 years of your life are on the line." Robert's voice was rising, desperate. "I built this company as much as he did, more even. I made the deals, found the investors, grew the revenue, and he was going to throw it all away because of some accounting irregularities." "You mean theft?" "I mean business. Kate, you're young. You don't understand how things work. Sometimes you have to move money around. Sometimes the books don't match reality. That's just how it is. That's embezzlement. That's survival." Robert was shouting now. "Your father was going to destroy everything I'd built. Everything we'd built together. I couldn't let that happen." "So you killed him?" "I protected us both. If he'd gone to the FBI, you would have lost everything too. The company, the reputation. The Brennan name would have been worthless." "My father's life was worth more than a name." Robert laughed, sharp and bitter. "Your father was a stubborn old man who couldn't see past his own righteousness. He had everything, and he was ready to burn it down over principle. Principle matters. Principle doesn't pay the bills, doesn't keep a company running, doesn't keep board members happy." Robert moved closer to Catherine. "Listen to me. We can still fix this, together. The audit is unofficial. Kirkland's findings aren't public. If we move quickly, we can restructure everything. Bury the evidence. Make this disappear. You want me to help you cover up my father's murder. I want us to protect the company your father built. That's what he would have wanted. Deep down, that's what he always wanted." "No." Catherine stood. "What my father wanted was justice, and that's what he's going to get." Robert's expression changed. The pleading vanished. Something colder took its place. "Kate, don't do this." "It's already done, Robert. The FBI has copies of the audit, recordings of this conversation. You're finished." Robert's hand moved to his jacket pocket. Marcus was already moving, bursting through the bedroom door, weapon raised. "Don't," Marcus commanded. Robert froze, his hand halfway to his pocket. "Step away from her," Marcus ordered. Robert's eyes darted between Marcus and Catherine. "Your driver, of course. Richard mentioned he'd hired private security." "Former Secret Service," Marcus corrected. "And right now my only job is keeping Kate alive. Something you've tried twice to prevent." "I don't know what you're talking about." "The waiter at the gala, gray suit, scar on his left hand. You hired him." Robert's face was stone. "Prove it." "I will. But first you're going to take your hand out of your pocket. Very slowly." Robert complied, but he was smiling now. A cold, calculating smile that made Marcus's skin crawl. "You think you're clever," Robert said. "Recording our conversation, getting me to confess. But Kate's right about one thing: I do have connections. Lawyers, judges, people who owe me favors. This recording won't mean anything." "It means everything," Catherine said. "You just admitted to murdering my father." "I admitted to nothing that will hold up in court. No witnesses, no physical evidence, just a grieving daughter trying to make sense of a natural death. Robert straightened his jacket. I'm leaving now. And Kate, if you're smart, you'll forget this conversation ever happened. Marcus stepped between Robert and the door. You're not going anywhere. You going to shoot me in Kate's apartment with no warrant, no authority? You're not Secret Service anymore, Cole. You're just a driver with a gun. The words stung because they were partially true. Marcus had no legal authority here, no jurisdiction. If he detained Robert without proper cause, any evidence they'd gathered could be thrown out. But he also wasn't going to let a murderer walk. Ray, Marcus said quietly. You getting this? Robert's confidence faltered. Ray. The apartment door opened. Raymond Washington stepped inside, FBI credentials in one hand, weapon in the other. Robert James Hendricks, Ray said formally. FBI, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, embezzlement, and wire fraud. You can't arrest me. This is illegal search and... Ms. Brennan invited you to her home. She's allowed to record conversations in her own residence. New York's a one-party consent state. Ray moved forward, pulling handcuffs from his belt. You have the right to remain silent. Robert's face went red. This is entrapment. No. This is you confessing to murder. Ray spun Robert around, cuffing him efficiently. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. I want my lawyer. You'll get your phone call. Ray guided Robert toward the door, paused, looked back at Catherine. You did good, Ms. Brennan. Your father would be proud. Catherine's composure finally cracked. Tears spilled down her face. She sank onto the couch, hands shaking. Marcus holstered his weapon and moved to her side. It's over. Kate, it's over. Is it? She looked up at him. He killed my father, Marcus, poisoned his coffee and watched him die, and he was going to do the same to me. But he didn't. You stopped him. We stopped him. No. Marcus knelt beside her. You stopped him. I just stood in the bedroom with a gun. You faced him, got him talking, made him confess. That was all you. Catherine wiped her eyes. I thought I was going to throw up the entire time. You didn't show it. Good. Because inside I was terrified. She laughed, shaky and wet. Is this what courage feels like? Because it feels a lot like nausea. That's exactly what it feels like. They sat in silence. The apartment suddenly felt too quiet, too empty. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving exhaustion in its wake. What happens now? Catherine asked. Ray takes Robert to federal holding. DA files charges, trial, prison. And the company? That's up to you. You're CEO. You decide how to handle it. Catherine stood, walked to the window. Manhattan stretched out below. Gray sky, cold morning. The city that never stops. I'll have to make a statement. Tell the board. Tell the shareholders. $53 million in theft. The CFO arrested for murder. Stock's going to tank. Probably. Media's going to have a field day. Definitely. And I'll be the face of it all. The young CEO who let her father's killer work beside her for 6 months. Catherine's voice broke. I trusted him, Marcus. Robert was at family dinners, birthdays. He helped my father build this company from nothing. And he murdered him over money. Marcus moved to stand beside her. You couldn't have known. I should have known. Should have questioned my father's death more. Should have investigated. Should have... Kate, stop. You did everything you could, more than most people would. She turned to face him. You knew. From the beginning, you knew something was wrong. I had training, years of learning how to spot threats. You didn't. That's not a failure. It feels like one. It's not. Marcus's voice was firm. Your father hired me because he knew you'd need protection. He knew Robert was dangerous. He tried to handle it alone and paid the price. But he made sure you wouldn't be alone. That's what fathers do. Catherine's tears came harder now. Marcus stood awkwardly, unsure how to help. Comfort wasn't his strength. He was better with weapons than words. But Catherine leaned into him, rested her forehead against his shoulder. And Marcus found himself wrapping his arms around her, holding her while she cried for the father she'd lost and the betrayal she'd uncovered. They stood like that for a long time, until the tears slowed, until Catherine's breathing steadied. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For keeping me alive, for believing my father, for not giving up. It's my job." "No." She pulled back, looked at him. "It was never just a job. You almost died for me. You ingested poison to save my life. That's not a job. That's something else." Marcus didn't know what to say. The moment stretched between them, heavy with things neither could quite name. His phone rang, shattering the silence. Marcus pulled it out. Ray's name on the screen. "Yeah. We got a problem." Ray's voice was tight. Robert lawyered up. "Big firm. They're already filing motions to suppress the recording." "On what grounds?" "Every ground they can think of. Illegal surveillance, entrapment, coercion. They're throwing everything at the wall." "Will it stick?" "Probably not, but it'll delay things. Could be months before this goes to trial." Marcus glanced at Catherine. She was watching him, reading his expression. "What else?" Marcus asked. Ray hesitated. "The waiter. Hotel security pulled traffic footage. Black sedan picked him up 3 blocks from the venue. Plates were fake, but we got a partial on the VIN. Cars registered to a holding company in the Caymans. Same place Robert was moving money. Yeah, we're tracking it, but it's layers deep. Shell companies inside shell companies. This goes beyond just Robert. He had help. Big help. The kind of help that makes Robert look small-time." Catherine stepped closer. "Put him on speaker." Marcus did. "Ray, this is Catherine. What are you saying, that Robert wasn't working alone?" "I'm saying your father's murder and the attempt on your life might be part of something bigger. The money Robert stole, $53 million, that's not enough to justify this level of organization. Professional hitmen, fake companies, international money laundering. There's more here." "Like what?" "I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out." Ray paused. "Kate, you need to stay hidden. At least until we figure out who else is involved." "Hidden where?" "The safe house. Marcus knows where it is. Stay there. Don't contact anyone from your company. Don't use your credit cards. Don't—" "I can't just disappear. I have a company to run, investors to reassure, a board meeting on Tuesday." "Ms. Brennan, with respect, someone tried to kill you 48 hours ago. They might try again. Robert's in custody." "Robert's not the top of this food chain. I'd bet everything I own on that." Catherine looked at Marcus. He nodded slightly. Ray was right. The pieces didn't add up. Robert was a thief and a murderer, but the sophistication of the operation suggested more players. "How long?" Catherine asked. "Few days, maybe a week, just until we can identify everyone involved." "A week. I can't—" Catherine stopped, took a breath. "Fine, 1 week. But Marcus stays with me." "That's the plan. Cole's the best protection you could have." They ended the call. Catherine sank back onto the couch. "This is insane," she muttered. 2 days ago, my biggest worry was a merger negotiation. Now I'm hiding from assassins." "Welcome to my world," Marcus said. "Your world is terrifying." "It has its moments." Catherine almost smiled. Then her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. "It's my assistant. I should—" "Don't answer." "Marcus, Ray said no contact with the company. That includes your assistant. Sarah's been with me for 3 years. I trust her." "You trusted Robert." The words hung heavy. Catherine's finger hovered over the answer button. Then she let it ring through to voicemail. "I hate this," she said quietly. "Not knowing who's safe, who's dangerous, having to hide in my own city. I know, but it's temporary. Ray will figure this out. And if he doesn't, he will." "You sound certain." Ray's the best agent I know. If there's more to find, he'll find it. Marcus moved to the window, scanned the street below. We should move. Get you to the safe house before anyone realizes Robert's in custody. They'll know soon. His lawyers will talk. Media will report it. Which is why we leave now. Catherine gathered a few things. Laptop, phone charger, change of clothes. She moved through her apartment like a ghost touching familiar objects. A photo of her parents, her father's watch on the bookshelf, her mother's jewelry box. I can't take these, she said. We'll come back for them. Will we? Or is this the last time I see my home? Kate, you're catastrophizing. Am I? My father's dead. My CFO tried to kill me. There's some shadowy organization involved. This feels pretty catastrophic. Marcus didn't argue. She was right. This was catastrophic. But dwelling on it wouldn't help. Come on, he said gently. Ray's waiting. They took the service elevator to avoid the lobby. Exited through the basement parking garage. Ray's SUV was idling near the back entrance. Get in, Ray said. We need to move fast. Catherine climbed into the back seat. Marcus took the passenger side. Ray pulled out tires, squealing slightly. Someone already knows, Ray said. Robert made a call from holding, his one allowed call. Didn't go to his lawyer. Who'd he call? Burner phone, untraceable. But the conversation was brief. 3 words. She knows everything. Marcus's blood went cold. They're coming for her. Probably. Which is why we're not going to the Brooklyn safe house. Where then? Somewhere better. Somewhere they won't think to look. Ray merged onto the highway heading north. I've got a place upstate. My uncle's hunting cabin. Off the grid. No electricity, no running water, no cell service. Sounds charming, Catherine muttered. It's safe. That's all that matters. They drove in silence. The city gave way to suburbs. Suburbs gave way to forests. Trees pressed close to the narrow road. The sky darkened with gathering clouds. Marcus's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You can't hide her forever. We know where she goes, who she loves. Tell Kate her father's death was quick. Hers won't be. Marcus deleted the text immediately, but not before Ray saw it. They're tracking your phone, Ray said. I figured. Marcus rolled down the window and threw the phone out. It shattered on the asphalt behind them. Hey, Catherine protested. That had all my contact. They were using it to find you. It's gone now. Catherine fell silent, the reality settling over her like a shroud. 2 hours later, they turned onto a dirt road barely visible through the undergrowth. The cabin appeared suddenly. Small, weathered, surrounded by dense forest. Home sweet home, Ray said, parking behind the structure. No neighbors for 5 miles. Nearest town is 40 minutes. If anyone finds us here, we'll see them coming. Inside the cabin was exactly as Ray described. Sparse. 1 main room with a wood stove. 2 small bedrooms, a pump sink, outhouse out back. I'll bring supplies later, Ray said. Food, water, firewood. You two stay inside. Don't start fires during the day, smoke draws attention. Only at night when it's harder to see. How long are we staying? Catherine asked. Until I neutralize the threat. Could be 3 days. Could be 10. 10 days in a cabin with no electricity. You'll survive. You're tougher than you think. Ray looked at Marcus. Keep her safe, Cole. I'm trusting you. I've got her. I know you do. That's why she's still breathing. Ray headed for the door. Paused. Marcus, there's something else. Something I didn't want to say in front of Kate earlier. They stepped outside. The afternoon was cold crisp. Marcus could see his breath. What is it? Marcus asked. The car that picked up the waiter. I traced the holding company. Took some digging. A lot of layers. But I found the real owner. Who? Ray's face was grim. Philip Brennan. Marcus's world tilted. Kate's grandfather. He died 10 years ago. I know. But before he died, he set up these companies. Dozens of them. All controlled by a trust. And guess who's the trustee? Robert. Bingo. Which means this goes back further than we thought. Philip Brennan might have started the embezzlement. Robert just continued it. And when Richard discovered what his own father had done, what Robert was still doing, Robert killed him to protect not just himself but Philip's legacy. That's my theory, but there's more. The trust has another beneficiary, someone who inherits if Catherine dies. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. Who? Catherine's cousin, David Brennan, lives in Connecticut, runs a hedge fund. By all accounts respectable. But if Kate dies, he gets controlling interest in Brennan Industries and access to all those offshore accounts. You think he's involved? I think someone told Robert that Kate was getting too close. Someone who stands to gain from her death. And David Brennan fits that profile perfectly. Have you brought him in for questioning? Can't. No evidence. Just suspicions. But I'm watching him. If he makes a move, I'll know. Marcus processed this. Catherine's own cousin might be trying to kill her. Family betrayal layered on family betrayal. Does Kate need to know? Marcus asked. Not yet. Let me confirm it first. No point terrifying her with maybes. Ray left 30 minutes later. Promised to return in 2 days with supplies and updates. His SUV disappeared down the dirt road, leaving Marcus and Catherine alone in the silence of the forest. Catherine stood in the main room, arms wrapped around herself. This is really happening, isn't it? I'm actually hiding in a cabin in the woods because people want me dead. Yes. For how long? As long as it takes. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. Marcus moved to the windows, checking sightlines. Ray will figure out who else is involved. When he does, we end this. And if he doesn't figure it out, he will. You keep saying that, but you don't know. None of us know. Catherine's voice was rising. My father didn't know Robert was going to kill him. I didn't know someone would poison my champagne. We're all just guessing, hoping, praying we don't end up dead. Marcus turned to face her. You're right. We don't know. But we prepare. We stay alert. We don't take unnecessary risks. That's how we survive. Is that how you survived when your wife died? The question hit like a physical blow. Marcus went still. I'm sorry, Catherine said immediately. I shouldn't have. My wife died in a car accident, Marcus said quietly. 3 years ago. I was at work. She was driving home from her sister's house. A truck ran a red light. Marcus, you don't have to. I investigated for 18 months, checked the truck driver's background, the intersection, the timing, everything, looking for something that didn't add up. Did you find anything? No. Sometimes bad things just happen. No conspiracy, no hidden villain, just wrong place, wrong time. Marcus looked at Catherine. But what's happening to you, this isn't random. This is deliberate, which means we can stop it. Catherine moved closer. You really believe that? I have to, because the alternative is giving up. And I don't know how to do that. They stood in the gathering darkness. The cabin felt smaller suddenly, more intimate. Catherine's hand found Marcus's, held tight. Thank you, she whispered, for everything. For not giving up on my father. On me. Kate. No, let me say this. You've risked your life, multiple times. You almost died from that poison. And you barely know me. Why? Why would you do that? Marcus thought about how to answer, about the real reason he'd taken this job. Not just because Catherine's father had asked, but because saving people was the only thing Marcus knew how to do anymore. The only thing that made him feel useful. Alive. Because someone has to, he said finally. And I'm good at it. Catherine smiled sadly. You're more than good, Marcus. You're... The window exploded inward. Glass shattered across the floor. Marcus dove forward, tackling Catherine to the ground as gunfire erupted from the tree line. Bullets tore through the cabin walls. Wood splinters exploded like shrapnel. Marcus covered Catherine's body with his own, pressing her flat against the floor. "Stay down!" he shouted over the gunfire. 3 shooters, maybe 4, automatic weapons. They'd been waiting in the tree line, watching. Ray's SUV had barely been gone 20 minutes. They'd been followed. Marcus' army crawled toward his duffel bag near the bedroom door, grabbed his Glock, extra magazines, returned to Catherine's side. "Can you move?" he asked. Catherine nodded. Her eyes were wide but focused. No screaming, no panic. "Good. Bedroom. Now. Stay low." They crawled across broken glass. Catherine's hands were bleeding, but she didn't slow down. Marcus pulled her through the bedroom doorway, just as another volley of bullets shredded the main room. The bedroom had one small window facing the back of the cabin. Marcus risked a glance outside. Clear for now, but that wouldn't last. "They're going to surround us," Catherine said. Her voice was surprisingly steady. "I know. So what do? We run." "Where? We're in the middle of nowhere. No car, no phone, no..." "Forest. 5 miles to the nearest road. We can make it." "Marcus, they have guns." "So do I." He checked his weapon. Full magazine. 1 in the chamber. 2 spare mags. 45 rounds total. Not great odds, but better than staying here. The gunfire stopped. Sudden silence more terrifying than the noise. Marcus moved to the window, peered out carefully. 4 men emerging from the trees. Military tactical gear, professional formation. They were moving toward the cabin in a coordinated sweep. "Back window," Marcus whispered. "On 3. We go fast. Don't stop running no matter what you hear." "Marcus." "Trust me." Catherine met his eyes. Nodded. 1. Marcus opened the window as quietly as possible. 2. He grabbed Catherine's hand. 3. They launched through the window, hit the ground running. Behind them, someone shouted. Gunfire erupted again. Marcus dragged Catherine into the tree line. Branches whipped their faces, roots grabbed their feet, but they didn't slow down. A bullet struck the tree beside Marcus's head. Bark exploded. He zigzagged, pulling Catherine with him, using the forest as cover. "Keep moving," he commanded. They ran for what felt like hours, but was probably 5 minutes. The sounds of pursuit faded slightly. The shooters were behind them, but not close. Not yet. Marcus stopped behind a massive oak tree, pulled Catherine down beside him. They both gasped for air. "How far?" Catherine managed between breaths. "Maybe half a mile. We need to keep going." "I can't. Marcus, I can't breathe." "Yes, you can. Look at me." He gripped her shoulders. "You can do this. I know you can." Catherine's eyes were filling with tears. "They're going to kill us." "No, they're not. I won't let them." "You can't stop 4 armed men. I've stopped worse." Marcus checked his weapon. "Stay here. Stay quiet. I'm going to slow them down." "What? No, Marcus, you can't." "Kate, listen. They're tracking our noise, our movement. I need to make them cautious, buy us time." "By doing what?" "What I was trained to do." Marcus moved before she could protest, circled back toward their pursuers. The poison was still in his system. His body felt heavy, sluggish, but his mind was clear. His training overrode everything else. He found a position behind a fallen log, 20 yards from where the shooters would pass. Good cover, clear sightline. They came into view 3 minutes later. 4 men, late 30s, fit, moving with the confidence of professionals. The lead man wore a tactical headset. He was calling signals to the others. Marcus aimed carefully. 2 shots. Center mass. The lead man dropped. The other 3 scattered, took cover. Returned fire in Marcus's general direction, but they didn't have his exact position yet. Marcus moved. Silent. Fast. Flanked left. Found new cover behind a cluster of rocks. One shooter made the mistake of standing to get a better angle. Marcus dropped him with a single shot. 2 left. But now they knew where he was. Bullets hammered the rocks. Marcus pressed himself flat. Waited. Silence. They were moving, trying to flank him the way he'd flanked them. Marcus belly-crawled through dead leaves, his movements whisper quiet. Years of training made it instinctive. He saw movement. 50 feet. A shooter advancing cautiously. Marcus waited until the man passed his position, then stood, pressed his Glock against the back of the man's head. "Drop it." The shooter froze. "I said drop the weapon." The rifle clattered to the ground. "Who sent you?" Marcus demanded. "Go to hell." Marcus struck him hard with the butt of his gun. The man collapsed. Marcus zip-tied his wrists with a cord from his pocket. Grabbed the man's rifle. An AR-15. Good. One shooter left. Marcus moved deeper into the forest. Hunting now. The roles reversed. He found the 4th man 10 minutes later. The shooter was standing near a tree speaking urgently into a radio. "Lost contact with primary team. Target still mobile. Requesting backup at..." Marcus fired. The radio exploded in the man's hand. The shooter yelped, dropped it, reached for his sidearm. "Don't," Marcus said. The AR-15 was trained on the man's chest. The shooter's hand froze. "On your knees. Hands behind your head." The man complied slowly. Marcus approached, kept his distance, kicked the man's weapon away. "Who hired you?" "I don't know names. Got paid through a third party." "What third party?" "Offshore account. Wire transfer. That's all I know." "Not good enough." "It's the truth. We got coordinates, photos of the target, payment schedule, nothing else." Marcus studied the man's face. He was telling the truth. Professional mercenaries rarely knew who hired them. Plausible deniability worked both ways. "How many others?" "Just us 4. "You're lying." "I'm not 4-man team. That's it. We were told it was a simple hit. In and out. Nobody said anything about Secret Service." "I'm not Secret Service anymore." "Could have fooled me." The man's eyes flicked left. Too obvious. Marcus dove right as a bullet cracked past his head. A 5th shooter, hidden in the trees. The man on his knees lunged for his dropped weapon. Marcus rolled, came up firing, dropped the kneeling man, swung the rifle toward the tree line, saw muzzle flash, fired 3 quick bursts. Someone screamed, then silence. Marcus approached slowly, found the 5th shooter slumped against a tree, young, maybe 25, gut shot, bleeding bad. "Please." The kid gasped. "Don't. Who else is coming?" "Nobody. Just us 5, I swear." "Why did you lie about the numbers?" "Tactical advantage. Make you think." He coughed, blood on his lips. "Make you think we were smaller. You'd get careless." Marcus knelt beside him. Applied pressure to the wound. The kid was dying. Nothing could stop it now. "I need a name," Marcus said quietly. "Who paid you?" "Brennan. David Brennan." The words came out wet and desperate. "He hired our company, military contractors. Said his cousin was in danger. Needed protection. But then the orders changed. Told us to eliminate the threat. Catherine Brennan is the threat." That's what he said. That she'd gone crazy, dangerous. We had to stop her before she hurt people. "You believed him." "We get paid to believe." The kid's eyes were losing focus. "Is she really dangerous?" "No, she's innocent. And you just tried to murder her based on a lie." "Shit." The kid's hand grabbed Marcus's arm. "I got a sister. Pittsburgh. Tell her I'm sorry." "You can tell her yourself." But the kid's grip went slack. His eyes stared at nothing. Marcus stood. 5 bodies. 5 lives ended. He felt nothing. No remorse, no satisfaction. Just the cold calculation of survival. He took weapons from the dead. 2 handguns, extra magazines, a tactical knife. Then he ran back toward where he'd left Catherine. She was gone. Marcus's heart stopped. He scanned the area. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just empty forest. "Kate," he called quietly. No answer. "Catherine." A rustle in the bushes. Catherine emerged pale and shaking. "I heard gunshots. So many gunshots. I thought, I'm fine. We need to move. Now." Are they? "They're dead. All 5. But more might come." Catherine stared at him, at the blood on his jacket, the weapons he carried. "You killed 5 people. They were trying to kill you." "I know, She swallowed hard. "Thank you." They moved through the forest. Marcus led, setting a brutal pace. Catherine kept up without complaining. Her hands were cut from the broken glass, her clothes torn from branches, but she didn't slow down. 2 hours later they reached a road. Empty. 2 lanes cutting through endless trees. "Which way?" Catherine asked. "South. Town's that direction. Maybe 10 miles. Can we make 10 miles before dark?" Marcus looked at the sky. Late afternoon. Maybe 3 hours of light left. "We'll have to." They walked. Marcus kept them off the road, paralleling it through the trees. Harder terrain, but safer. Cars could be enemies. Catherine was limping after the first mile. Her shoes were wrong for this kind of hiking. Expensive leather flats designed for boardrooms, not wilderness survival. "We need to rest," Marcus said. "I'm fine." "You're limping." "I said I'm fine." Marcus stopped, turned to face her. "Kate, it's not weakness to acknowledge pain. I don't want to slow us down." "You're not. But if you injure yourself worse, then you will slow us down. 5 minutes. We rest 5 minutes." Catherine sank onto a fallen log, pulled off her shoes. Her feet were blistered and bleeding. "Jesus," Marcus muttered. He pulled a first aid kit from one of the tactical vests he'd taken, wrapped her feet as best he could. "This'll help. Not much, but some." "Where'd you learn field medicine?" "Marines. Then Secret Service medical training. You learn to handle everything from gunshots to blisters." "Have you been shot often?" "3 times." Catherine's eyes widened. 3? "Twice in Iraq. Once in D.C. All flesh wounds." "You keep saying flesh wounds like they're nothing." "Compared to dead, they're nothing." Marcus finished wrapping her feet. "Better?" "Yes, thank you." They sat in silence. The forest around them was alive with sound. Birds, wind, the distant rush of water. "Marcus," Catherine said quietly. "The 5th shooter, before he died. He said something, didn't he?" Marcus debated lying, decided against it. "Yeah?" "What did he say?" "That David Brennan hired them." Catherine went very still. "My cousin David, yes. That's impossible. David's family. He wouldn't." "Kate, your CFO killed your father. Your grandfather apparently started the embezzlement that led to all this. Family doesn't mean safety." "But David has his own money, his own company. Why would he want me dead?" "Control of Brennan Industries. If you die, he inherits." Catherine stood abruptly, paced. Her wrapped feet made soft sounds on the forest floor. No, this is insane. David's always been kind to me, supportive. After my father died, he called every week, checked on me, offered to help with the company." "Offered to help or offered to take over?" "That's not..." Catherine stopped. Thought. "He did suggest I step down. Said it was too much stress. That I should let the board appoint an interim CEO while I grieved." "Which would have been him." "Probably." Catherine sank back onto the log. "I told him no, said I needed to work, that staying busy helped with the grief." "And 3 weeks later someone tried to poison you." The implications hung between them. Catherine wrapped her arms around herself. My own cousin, my family. How do I—" Her voice broke. "Marcus, who can I trust if David's involved, if Robert killed my father, if my grandfather started all this, who's left?" Marcus moved to sit beside her. "You trust yourself, your instincts, your strength." "I don't feel strong. I feel terrified." "You ran through a forest while people shot at you. You didn't scream, didn't freeze. You kept moving. That's strength." "That's adrenaline." "No, that's courage. There's a difference." Catherine leaned against him, just slightly, seeking comfort. Marcus stayed very still. He wasn't good at this, at being someone people leaned on emotionally, but he didn't move away. "What happens when we reach town?" Catherine asked. "We find a phone, call Ray, get you somewhere actually safe." "Is anywhere safe anymore?" "I'll make sure it is." "You can't promise that." "Watch me." They sat until the sun began setting. Then Marcus helped Catherine to her feet, and they resumed walking. The town appeared 90 minutes later, small, rural. One main street with a diner, a gas station, and a sheriff's office. "We need to avoid the sheriff," Marcus said. "Why, they could help. Or they could be compromised. David Brennan has money and connections. He could have people anywhere. You're being paranoid. I'm being cautious. There's a difference." They approached the gas station from the back. Marcus used cash from his wallet to buy a prepaid phone from a vending machine. Called Ray. The phone rang 4 times. Marcus's stomach tightened. "Answer. Come on, answer." "Hello," Ray's voice. Tense. "It's Marcus." "Jesus Christ, Cole. Where are you? I've been trying to reach you for 3 hours." "Cabin was compromised. 5 shooters, all dead. We're in—" Marcus checked the gas station sign. "Millbrook, about 40 miles north of the cabin." "Millbrook. Okay, stay there. I'm sending backup." "Who?" "People I trust. Former military. Private security. They'll extract you both and bring you to a secure location." "How long?" 2 hours, maybe 3. There's a motel on Route 9. Miller's Motor Lodge. Check in, use cash. Don't give real names. Wait for my people." Ray, the shooters said David Brennan hired them. Silence on the other end. Then, "I know." "You know?" "I've been digging. David's connected to at least 4 offshore accounts. Same network Robert was using. It's all the same money, Cole. Same conspiracy. David and Robert were partners." "Does Kate need to hear this?" "She's going to have to, because David's not in Connecticut anymore. His credit card was used in Manhattan 2 hours ago. He's coming for her." Marcus looked at Catherine. She was watching him, reading his face. "We'll be at the motel," Marcus said. "Send your people fast." "I will. Cole, keep her alive, whatever it takes." "That's the plan." Marcus ended the call. Catherine stepped closer. "What did he say?" "David's in Manhattan. He's looking for you." "Then we can't go back." "We won't. Ray's sending people to get us. Take us somewhere safe." "For how long?" "Days, weeks, forever." Catherine's voice was rising. "I can't hide forever, Marcus. I have a life, a company, responsibilities. You also have people trying to kill you. So we kill them first." Marcus blinked. "What?" "You heard me. We stop running. We find David. We end this." "Kate, that's not— you can't just— Why not? You killed 5 men today to protect me. Why can't we use that same energy to finish this? Find David. Get proof. Turn him over to the FBI." "Because David's smart. He's careful. He won't make the same mistakes Robert made." "Then we make him make mistakes." Catherine's jaw was set, determined. "I'm tired of being prey, Marcus. I want to be the hunter." Marcus studied her face, saw the shift happening. The frightened CEO was disappearing. Something harder was taking her place. "You sure about this?" he asked quietly. "No. But I'm doing it anyway. If we do this, if we go after David, it's dangerous. More dangerous than hiding." "I know. People could die. People are already dying. My father, those shooters. How many more bodies before this ends? She was right. Running wouldn't stop David. He'd keep coming, keep sending people, keep killing until Catherine was dead or he was stopped. All right, Marcus said. We do this, but we do it smart. We plan, we prepare, and we don't move until we have every advantage. Agreed. And Kate, if things go wrong, if it comes down to your life or David's, I know, you'll make the choice for me. No. Marcus met her eyes. You'll make the choice. This is your fight, your family, your decision. I'm just the weapon. You tell me where to aim. Catherine held his gaze. Something passed between them. Understanding, trust, partnership. Miller's Motor Lodge, she said. Let's go. The motel was exactly what Marcus expected. Single story, parking lot with more potholes than asphalt. A flickering neon sign that buzzed like angry bees. Marcus paid cash for a room. The clerk barely looked at them. Too busy watching a game show on a tiny television. The room smelled like cigarettes and industrial cleaner. 2 double beds, a bathroom with questionable plumbing, a window that faced the parking lot. Marcus checked the locks. Inadequate. He wedged a chair under the door handle, drew the curtains, positioned himself where he could see both the door and window. Catherine sat on the bed, pulled off her makeshift bandages. Her feet looked worse than before. The blisters had burst, blood mixed with dirt. I need to clean these, Marcus said. I can do it. Kate, I can do it. Her voice was firm. You've done enough. You've saved me 3 times now. Let me take care of something myself. Marcus nodded, stepped back, watched as Catherine limped to the bathroom. He heard water running, her sharp intake of breath as she cleaned the wounds. She emerged 20 minutes later, feet wrapped in toilet paper and soap from the dispenser. Not ideal, but better than nothing. We need supplies, she said. Food, water, real bandages. Gas station across the street. I'll go. Be careful. Always am. Marcus left the room, kept his hand near his concealed weapon. The gas station was deserted except for a teenage employee playing on his phone. Marcus grabbed bottled water, granola bars, a first aid kit, paid cash. Returned to the motel without incident. Catherine was sitting on the bed when he entered. She'd found paper and a pen somewhere, was writing notes. What's that? Marcus asked. Strategy. Everything we know about David. His habits, his properties, his weaknesses. You know his weaknesses. Some. He's arrogant, always has been. Thinks he's the smartest person in any room. That's how we beat him. How? We make him think he's won. Draw him out, get him to confess. Catherine looked up. Same way I did with Robert. Kate, Robert was desperate, scared. He made mistakes. David won't. Everyone makes mistakes when they think they're safe. She tapped the paper. David thinks I'm running, hiding. He doesn't know I'm planning to come after him. That's our advantage. Marcus sat across from her. Okay. Walk me through it. They spent the next 2 hours planning. Catherine knew David's schedule, his properties, his routines. She knew where he'd be and when. Wednesday night, she said. He has a standing dinner reservation at Per Se. 8 p.m. Always alone. Always the same table. Public place. Lots of witnesses. Also lots of noise. Private alcove. We could get close without anyone noticing. And then what? We just confront him. We record him. Get him to admit his involvement. Turn the recording over to Ray. He won't admit anything without pressure. So we pressure him. Catherine's eyes were hard. We tell him we have proof. That Robert's talking. That the FBI's freezing his accounts. We make him panic. It was a solid plan, better than Marcus expected. Catherine was thinking tactically, strategically. using her knowledge of David against him. "Ray's people will be here in 2 hours," Marcus said. "We'll run this by them, see if they can help. And if they can't, then we do it ourselves." Catherine smiled, tired but real. "You know, when my father hired you, I thought he was being paranoid. A driver with Secret Service training seemed excessive. And now I think he didn't hire enough protection." They sat in comfortable silence. The motel room felt safer than it should, maybe because they'd stopped running, made a decision to fight back. Or maybe because Marcus was starting to believe they might actually survive this. A knock on the door shattered the silence. 3 sharp raps. Marcus was on his feet, instantly weapon drawn. "Stay behind me," he whispered. Catherine moved to the bathroom doorway, out of the line of fire. "Who is it?" Marcus called. "Ray sent us. Carter and Lopez, former Delta Force." Marcus approached the door carefully, looked through the peephole. 2 people. A woman with dark hair pulled back in a tactical bun. A man built like a linebacker. Both wore civilian clothes but carried themselves like operators. Marcus opened the door slightly, chain still engaged. "What's Ray's middle name?" he asked. The woman didn't hesitate. "Thomas, Raymond Thomas Washington, born in Detroit, has a scar on his left shoulder from Kandahar, drinks his coffee black with 2 sugars. And he said to tell you that you still owe him $50 from poker night in 2019. Marcus unchained the door. "Let them in." The woman extended her hand. "Sarah Carter, this is Miguel Lopez. Ray filled us in on the situation." Lopez nodded at Catherine. "Ms. Brennan, you holding up okay?" "I'm alive," Catherine said. "So yes." Carter moved to the window, checked sightlines. "This location's compromised. We need to move within the hour." "Where to?" Marcus asked. "Safe house in Jersey. Actually safe this time. Former military bunker converted to residential. Underground. Reinforced. Off every grid that matters." "How long can we stay there?" "As long as needed. But Ray said you're planning something else. Something stupid." Carter's eyes were sharp, assessing. "Want to fill us in?" Marcus glanced at Catherine. She stepped forward. "I'm going after my cousin," Catherine said. "David Brennan. He's been trying to kill me. He hired those men at the cabin. He's part of the embezzlement scheme that got my father killed, and I'm going to make him pay." Lopez whistled low. "Ray wasn't kidding. That is stupid." "It's also the only way this ends," Marcus said. "We can hide Kate forever, or we can eliminate the threat." "Eliminate meaning arrest," Carter asked pointedly. "Meaning whatever it takes." Carter and Lopez exchanged a look, some wordless communication that came from years of working together. "We're in," Carter said finally. "But we do this smart, professional, no cowboy heroics." "Agreed," Catherine said. "I have a plan. Wednesday night, Per Se restaurant. David has a standing reservation." Per Se. "That's high-end. Security's tight. Cameras everywhere." "I know. That's why it's perfect. He'll feel safe. Let his guard down." "What's the approach?" Lopez asked. Catherine outlined the plan. Carter and Lopez listened without interrupting. When she finished, they were both nodding. "Could work," Carter admitted. "But you'll need better recording equipment than a cell phone, and backup in case things go sideways." "Can you provide that?" Marcus asked. "We can provide a lot of things. Ray's got resources he's not supposed to have." Carter pulled out a tablet, started typing. "I'm pulling David Brennan's file now. Let's see what we're dealing with." The screen filled with information. Photos, financial records, property holdings. David Brennan smiled from a corporate headshot. Handsome, confident, the face of someone who'd never been told no. 37 years old. Carter read. Harvard Business School. Runs Brennan Capital Management. Hedge fund worth approximately $2 billion. No criminal record. Married once, divorced, no kids. lives in Greenwich, Connecticut, but maintains an apartment in Manhattan, Upper East Side. He's there now, Marcus said. Ray tracked his credit card. Then that's where we start. Lopez, you're on surveillance. I want eyes on David's apartment. Who comes and goes, his routines, his security. On it, Lopez said. Ms. Brennan, you're staying in the bunker until Wednesday. Cole stays with you. I'll coordinate logistics. What about Ray? Catherine asked. Ray's got official FBI business. He can't be directly involved in what we're planning. Plausible deniability, but he'll run interference if needed. They left the motel an hour later. Carter drove a black SUV with tinted windows and plates that probably weren't registered to anyone real. Lopez followed in a sedan. The safe house was in Newark. Industrial area. Abandoned factory that looked condemned from the outside. But the door opened to reveal an elevator shaft descending 3 stories underground. The bunker was larger than Marcus expected. Living quarters, kitchen, armory, communications center. Everything needed for extended operations. Built during the Cold War, Carter explained. Government sold it to a private contractor 20 years ago. That contractor happens to owe Ray several very large favors. Catherine walked through the space, touching walls, testing locks. It's like a very expensive prison. It's safety, Carter corrected. No one knows this place exists. You could stay here for months and never be found. I don't want months. I want 3 days. 3 days is what you've got. Wednesday's the play. Until then, you rest, recover, prepare. The next 72 hours passed in a blur of preparation. Lopez reported back on David's movements. Predictable, routine. The man was confident, arrogant, didn't believe anyone could touch him. Carter procured equipment, micro cameras, audio recorders, earpieces, weapons, everything they'd need. Marcus trained with Catherine, taught her how to stay calm under pressure, how to control her breathing, how to keep someone talking when every instinct screamed to run. David's going to try to intimidate you, Marcus said. Make you feel small, powerless. That's how men like him operate. I know. I've dealt with men like him my whole life. This is different. This time you're not negotiating a business deal. You're confronting a murderer. Catherine met his eyes. I know, but Marcus, I've been scared for days. Hiding, running. I'm done being afraid. Whatever happens Wednesday, I'm ready. Marcus wished he shared her confidence, but he'd seen too many operations go wrong. Too many plans unravel in seconds. Wednesday arrived cold and gray. Catherine dressed carefully. Black dress, simple jewelry. She looked like a CEO heading to a business dinner, not a woman about to confront her would-be killer. Carter checked the equipment one final time. Micro camera disguised as a necklace. Audio recorder smaller than a button sewn into Catherine's dress. Earpiece invisible to anyone not specifically looking for it. We'll be listening to everything, Carter said. If things go bad, we're 30 seconds away. Just say the code word. Which is Zoe, your mother's name. David won't think twice about you mentioning it, but we'll know to move. Marcus drove Catherine to Manhattan. Carter and Lopez followed in a separate vehicle. Ray was somewhere in the city, officially working a different case, unofficially ready to arrest David the moment they had evidence. Per se was exactly as Catherine described. Elegant, exclusive, the kind of restaurant where reservations required months of planning and connections. Catherine walked in alone. Marcus stayed in the SUV parked across the street, watched through the camera feed on his tablet. The hostess greeted Catherine warmly. Ms. Brennan, how wonderful to see you. Your table is ready. Actually, I'm meeting someone. David Brennan. Has he arrived? He has. Right this way. The hostess led Catherine through the restaurant to a private alcove. David sat alone at a table for 2. He looked up as Catherine approached. Surprise flashed across his face, then delight. Kate. What a wonderful surprise. He stood, embraced her. I didn't know you were in the city. Last-minute trip, Catherine said smoothly. I saw you had a reservation. Thought I'd join you, if that's okay. Of course, please sit. This is wow. I haven't seen you since the funeral. How are you holding up? Catherine sat across from him, smiled. I'm managing. It's been difficult, but I'm trying to move forward. That's good. That's really good. David signaled a waiter. Champagne for the table. We're celebrating. Celebrating what? You. Being here. Being strong. Your father would be proud. The waiter brought champagne, poured 2 glasses. Catherine stared at hers. Something wrong? David asked. Just remembering the last time someone offered me champagne. At the gala. A waiter tried to poison me. David's smile didn't falter, but something shifted behind his eyes. I heard about that. Terrible business. They caught the man, didn't they? They caught one man, but he didn't act alone. No? No, someone hired him, paid him, gave him access to the event. Catherine lifted her glass, but didn't drink. Someone who wanted me dead. Kate, that's horrible. Do the police have leads? The FBI has more than leads. They have evidence, bank transfers, communications, a whole network of offshore accounts connected to Brennan Industries. David went very still. That's impossible. Is it? Because they've already arrested Robert, and Robert's talking, telling them everything. Robert was embezzling. Everyone knows that now. But what does that have to do with you? Catherine leaned forward. Everything, David. Robert was your partner. You two worked together. Stealing from my father, from the company, $53 million over 7 years. David laughed. Too loud. Too forced. Kate, you're not making sense. I run my own fund. Why would I steal from Uncle Richard? Because $53 million is pocket change compared to what you really wanted. Control of Brennan Industries. With my father dead and me out of the way, you inherit everything. The company, the accounts, the legacy. You're being paranoid. Am I? Then explain the 5 men who attacked me at a cabin upstate. The professional mercenaries who said you hired them. Who said you paid them to kill me. David's face hardened. The friendly cousin act dissolved. If someone attacked you, I'm sorry. But I had nothing to do with it. One of them survived long enough to talk. He gave me your name, David. Said you hired them through a military contractor. Told them I was dangerous, that I needed to be eliminated. That's a lie. Is it because the FBI traced the payments, back to your accounts, your shell companies, the same network you and Robert used for the embezzlement? David set down his glass. His hand was shaking. Kate, listen to me. No, you listen. You killed my father. Maybe you didn't inject the poison yourself, but you knew. You helped plan it, and then you tried to kill me when I got too close to the truth. Your father died of a heart attack. My father was murdered, by Robert, on your orders, because he'd discovered what you were doing, what you've been doing for years. David looked around. The alcove was private, but not soundproof. Other diners were close. He lowered his voice. You can't prove any of this. I can. Robert confessed. Named you as his partner. The FBI has recordings, documents, everything they need to send you to prison for the rest of your life. Then why are you here? Why this dinner? Why not just have them arrest me? Catherine smiled, cold and sharp. Because I wanted to look you in the eye. Wanted to hear you try to justify it. Wanted to understand how family could do this to family. David stared at her. Something ugly twisted across his face. You want to understand, fine. Your father was weak, too moral, too careful. He built an empire and then refused to grow it because he was afraid of taking risks. I saw opportunities he ignored, money he left on the table, so I took it. You stole it. I invested it, grew it. That $53 million. It's worth 3 times that now. I made us all richer, and Richard was going to throw me in prison for it. Because you broke the law. Because he couldn't see the bigger picture. David's voice was rising. He was going to destroy everything. Bring in the FBI, tank the stock, ruin the Brennan name, all because of some outdated sense of morality. So you killed him. I protected the family, protected the company. Someone had to make the hard choices. And me. What about trying to kill me? David leaned back, seemed to realize he'd said too much. I never tried to kill you, Kate. You hired the mercenaries. I hired security, for your protection. Security doesn't shoot at the people they're protecting. Maybe you misunderstood their intentions. I understood perfectly when bullets were tearing through the walls. They stared at each other, the truth hanging between them. Finally, David spoke, his voice quiet, resigned. What do you want, Kate? I want you to confess, officially, to the FBI. Tell them everything, about the embezzlement, about my father's murder, about hiring those men to kill me. And if I do, then maybe you get a deal. Reduced sentence, cooperation credit, something. And if I don't, then Ray Washington walks through that door and arrests you right now, and you spend the rest of your life in prison with no possibility of a deal. David considered this. His fingers drummed on the table. You're bluffing. You don't have enough for an arrest. Don't I? You just confessed to taking the money, to protecting yourself, all recorded. Catherine touched her necklace. This isn't jewelry, David. It's a camera. Everything you've said. The FBI has it now. David's face went white. He stood abruptly. You can't. I already did. He reached for her. Marcus was already moving. Burst through the restaurant entrance, crossed the floor in seconds, grabbed David's arm before he could touch Catherine. Don't, Marcus said quietly. David tried to pull away. Marcus twisted his arm behind his back. Pressure points, control holds. David gasped in pain. Carter and Lopez appeared from different directions, flanking, covering exits. And then Ray walked through the front door, FBI credentials held high. David Brennan, you're under arrest. The restaurant erupted. Diners stood. Phones came out. Staff shouted. But Ray's team was already moving, cuffing David, reading his rights, escorting him toward the exit. David looked back at Catherine. You stupid girl. You have no idea what you've just done. This is bigger than me. Bigger than Robert. You've just started a war. Then I'll finish it, Catherine said. They took David out. The restaurant buzzed with shocked conversations. Catherine sat alone at the table, staring at the untouched champagne. Marcus approached slowly. You okay? I don't know. Ask me tomorrow. You did good, Kate. You got him. Did I? He said this is bigger, that there are others. There always are. But you stopped the immediate threat. That's what matters. Catherine stood. Her legs were shaking. Marcus steadied her. Can we leave? I don't want to be here anymore. They left through the back. Avoided the cameras, the questions. Got into the SUV and drove. Catherine was silent the entire ride. Marcus didn't push. She'd process in her own time. Back at the bunker, Carter had news. David's already trying to cut a deal. His lawyer's talking to the DA. But Ray's confident we have enough even without his cooperation. The recording from tonight, Robert's testimony, the financial records. It's solid. What about the others? Catherine asked. David said this was bigger. Who else is involved? We're investigating. Several board members. A few offshore partners. This network goes deep. But Kate, you don't have to be involved anymore. You got justice for your father. The FBI can handle the rest. Catherine shook her head. No, I need to see this through. All of it. Every person involved. Every dollar stolen. I need to know the full extent of what my family did. That could take months. Years. Then it takes years. I'm not walking away. Carter nodded, respect in her eyes. All right. We'll help however we can. Over the next week, the arrests continued. 3 board members. 2 lawyers, a financial advisor, all connected to the embezzlement scheme, all facing serious charges. The media exploded. Brennan Industries was on every news channel, every website. Catherine gave one interview, told the truth, about her father's murder, about David's betrayal, about the systematic theft. The stock dropped 30%, then rebounded when Catherine announced new oversight measures. Independent audits, ethics committees, transparency initiatives. Shareholders called for her resignation. She refused, fought back, kept the company together through sheer determination. Marcus stayed close. Not as a driver anymore. As head of security, official position, real authority. He hired a team, vetted them personally, made sure Catherine was protected. 3 months after David's arrest, Catherine stood in her father's old office. She'd finally moved into the CEO suite, finally claimed the space as her own. Marcus found her staring out the window. "You okay?" "I miss him," Catherine said quietly. "My father. I keep wanting to call him, ask his advice, tell him about everything that's happened. He'd be proud of you, what you've done, how you've fought." "Would he? I destroyed the company's reputation, arrested half the board, turned our family name into a scandal." "You told the truth. That's what he wanted, what he died trying to do." Catherine turned to face Marcus. "I couldn't have done it without you. You know that, right? None of this. I'd be dead without you. You're stronger than you think." "Maybe now. But 3 months ago I was terrified, lost. You saved me. In every way a person can be saved." Marcus didn't know what to say. The moment felt too big, too heavy. Catherine closed the distance between them. "Marcus, I want to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Okay? That kiss, at the gala, the one that saved my life. If there hadn't been poison, if it was just a kiss, would you have—" She stopped, shook her head. "Never mind. That's not fair. Would I have what? Would you have kissed me anyway if there wasn't a threat? If it was just us?" Marcus thought about how to answer, about the truth he'd been avoiding for 3 months. "Kate, I'm your employee, your security. There are lines. I'm not asking as your boss. I'm asking as me, as Catherine. Would you—" He looked at her, really looked. This woman who'd survived assassination attempts and family betrayal, who'd faced down killers and rebuilt a broken company, who'd somehow become the most important person in his world. "Yes," he said quietly. "I would have." Catherine smiled, small and genuine. "Then maybe when all this is over, when the trials are done and the company's stable and I'm not constantly in danger, maybe then," Marcus agreed. She reached out, took his hand. They stood like that. 2 people who'd survived hell together, who'd found something worth protecting in each other. Marcus's phone rang. He checked it. "Ray, this better be important," Marcus said. "It is. We found something. In the financial records. A series of transfers to an account in Switzerland. Large amounts. We tracked it back." "To who?" Ray's voice was grim. "Your wife's accident. 3 years ago. Someone paid for it, Cole. $50,000 to a man named Victor Chen. Professional. Specializes in making accidents look natural." Marcus went cold. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying your wife didn't die in an accident. She was murdered, and the person who paid for it was Robert Hendricks." The world tilted. Catherine's hand tightened on his. "Marcus, Robert killed Sarah," Marcus whispered. "My wife. He had her killed." "Why?" Catherine asked. Ray answered through the phone. "Because 3 years ago, Sarah Cole was investigating financial irregularities at Brennan Industries. She was a forensic accountant, one of the best. Richard Brennan hired her to look into some suspicious transactions. She was getting close to the truth. So Robert had her eliminated. Marcus sat down heavily. 3 years. 3 years of thinking it was random. Bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. But it was murder. Planned. Paid for. His wife had died because she was good at her job. Marcus, Ray said, Robert's willing to testify about this. Corroborate everything, in exchange for a reduced sentence. What do you want me to tell the DA? Marcus thought about his daughter. About Sophie, who was 7 when her mother died. Who still cried sometimes at night. Who asked why Mommy had to go away. He thought about justice, about revenge, about what Sarah would want. Tell them yes, Marcus said. Robert testifies, gives us everything, every name, every crime. In exchange, life in prison instead of death penalty. You sure? I'm sure. Sophie needs to know the truth. That her mother died fighting for what was right. That's the legacy Sarah deserves. Ray hung up. Marcus sat in silence. Catherine knelt beside him. I'm so sorry. Marcus, I'm so sorry. She was investigating my company, Catherine said. My family killed her. Oh God. Marcus, how can you even look at me? This isn't your fault. She died because of my family's crimes. She died doing her job, fighting corruption, being brave. That's not on you, Kate. That's on Robert, on David, on all the men who valued money more than human life. Catherine was crying now. I'll make this right, however I can. Whatever you need. Sophie's college, her future. Kate, stop. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. You saved my life, and my family took yours. Marcus pulled her close, held her while she cried. Then we're even. We saved each other. They sat like that until the tears stopped, until the anger faded to something quieter. Determination. Purpose. What now? Catherine asked. Now we finish it. Make sure every person involved pays, for my wife, for your father, for everyone they hurt. Together. Together. 6 months later, the trials were over. Robert and David both convicted. Life sentences. No parole. The other conspirators got varying terms. The company survived. Battered, but standing. Catherine stood in front of Brennan Industries headquarters. New name on the building. Brennan Coal Industries. A memorial. A partnership. A future built on the ashes of the past. Marcus stood beside her. Sophie holding his hand. 7 years old and growing like a weed. Is this where Mommy worked? Sophie asked. For a little while, Marcus said. She was trying to help people, to stop bad people from doing bad things. Like a superhero. Exactly like a superhero. Sophie looked at Catherine. Are you a superhero too? Catherine smiled. I try to be. Your dad helps me. Daddy's definitely a superhero. He saved you. He did, and I'm very grateful. They went inside together. A family built from tragedy, from loss, from the determination to survive and honor those who couldn't. Marcus thought about that night at the gala. The champagne, the poison, the split-second decision to kiss a stranger and ingest death. He'd do it again, without hesitation, because that kiss had led to this, to justice, to truth, to a woman who understood loss and fought anyway, to a future where his daughter could grow up knowing her mother was a hero. The kiss that saved Catherine's life had somehow saved his too, and that Marcus thought was worth everything.